Hello, gents. I hope you're well. So, I've had a request for a video on bin steps, what pools to use, what sort of percentage to pick, etc. So, we're going to talk about it and we're going to describe probably the best scenario for it. So, if you found a meme coin and it's quite early on, so let's take, for example, this one. I don't know how it's doing. It's 21 hours old. What is the level of volatility on it? Because that's going to dictate if we've got candles like this. So this is a 15-minute chart, and we've got candles that are very volatile. So you can see they're up and down, up and down. You're more likely to use one where there's a 2% or 1% fee with 100% bin, because 100% bin is 100% drop. So for example, a drop from here to here is about 65%. Now across the board, so if we have a look, from the all-time high to all-time low is 75%. So you need to be using a bin step of 100 for that. So we can take example of this token. Let's just copy that and put it into here. So typically, the newer the token, this is the best rule, the newer the token, the higher the fee and the higher the bin step, simply because you don't want to go out of range. Now, this is actually pulling in quite a good amount of volume. It seems like it's a bit of a dead token unless there's some hype or something coming in, but a 5% fee with a TVL of 2000 is bringing in a good amount. Now, what you can check as well is how much of the fee has it actually brought in. And now, another good thing to check is go to this and then see what is the level of volume. You can check the 1 hour chart now. So, for example, let's have a look at the 1 hour. It's 2000 volume. Now, the 5% fee is quite a lot, and there is volume on it. So, albeit very low because the liquidity is low. If this was 20,000, then that might be 370, etc. So, think about it this way: the newer the token, the higher the fee and the larger the bin step. Now, if I was to make a pool for this, I'm not going to pull in too much. However, the best way to look at it is tokens that are older, like for example, Vine. uh, Meteora does a very good job at finding you the best pool, and it comes with experience. So, for example, this would probably be the best pool: a 20 bin step, this is a popular one, and a 0.25. Now, the reason that sometimes these pools actually end up, the 20 bin step and the 0.2 actually end up with more volume than the actual pool. Now, the reason being is if this one was a radium pool, radium is defaulted to a 0.25% fee. So this is actually a cheaper fee. Therefore, we end up with a lot more volume. Let's take, for example, this Vine one. An example would be it's probably got really high volume. So it's got 108 million volume. Now, therefore, this is bringing in every few seconds large buys, good amount of volume. If we were to buy this one right now, we would accrue a lot of fees in that. However, the bin step, you can just put, for example, one Solana, is 12%, which means if the price drops even just down to here, you'll probably be out of range. So you've got to kind of balance it as in, okay, how long is this going to last for me to sit there every few hours and rebalance it if I need to? And that's what you're going to equate. Now, if you're thinking, I want to hold this token long term, what you may do is look at another pool. Let's go and find Vine. And you could probably say the 100 bin step is probably going to be about a 70%, let's say. So it's a 50%. So typically, it works out to be 100 bin is 0.5% in terms of the price moving. So if I was to do a two-sided pool, it would be 25% each way. And what you've got here is a larger bin step. So the bin step itself is the range. So the larger the bin range, the more likely your pool is going to last and you'll be occurring the fee. Now, the only thing is, the negative is that the bin step this pool won't get used as much. So if you're using the pool itself, you're better off going with the smaller one for larger tokens with high volume. So if you are seeing a token where it's only got a 1% or 2% pull, you can make a lot of money by making the 0.2% pull. So we can take a look at the deck screener here just to see what kind of volume it's bringing in. It's still very high actually. So the volatility isn't there. So you can see, look, there's very large amounts. That's a very large sell. However, I would say it's occurring, 7,000 transactions. If we compare that to 68, it's basically 10 times the amount of transactions. And the other thing you have to look at is the level of liquidity. So this has a lot more liquidity. However, over time, most of this liquidity will realize the pool is more profitable to beat into here just based on the volume and the way the chart is a bit more solid. You might think, okay, if this is the best pool because it brings in the best volume, a zero point 0.2, let's say the best pools are zero point 0.2 or lower. However, if there isn't volume, you're better off going with a pool like this. So newer tokens, larger bin step, higher fees, and then over time you'll realize, okay, this token has lasted. We need to make a 20 bin step, 0.2%. And you can take this for as an example for like Pippin. Probably the best pool will be 20 plus 0.2. And another one that I've done quite well with was this one doesn't seem to have too much. But where was the other one? So SafeMint, I'll be surprised if there isn't. So that was the one that Dev made. So this pool will probably be the most profitable, as you can see. But obviously there's very low liquidity. But go through it, and again, 20 0.2. Now the reason this is the most popular is because you can only do a 20 bin step minimum. You can't do any higher than that. And a 0.2 is the most efficient pool to make against a radium pool. So graphene, for example, will be a 0.25% fee on radium's pool. That's why people make the 0.2% and the 20 bin step, because it's basically less fees, more dexes will route through your pool, therefore you'll incur more fees, create more volume, etc. But you can look at pretty much everything. And again, this is a bit of a newer token and it's bringing in that much. Over time, this pool, you can see it's created a small amount. And let's say, look, there's $2,000 in here. Let's have a little look. And it's created basically $2,000 in 24-hour fee. So people will realize that and go, okay, if I put $5,000, I'm gonna make $5,000 with that. And obviously, the more people that add to the pool, the more likely it is to come and take over. And eventually, pools with large amounts of fees end up not getting used. They don't end up being used. If this was a 5% fee, there's probably a 5% pool. But in theory, what you have to remember is Meteora do a very good job at keeping the pools in a list where this is okay. This one, the TVL based on the volume, that's I don't know, a 1%. That's a 1% as well, but that isn't a 1%. So it just depends how long you're going to hold the token is the most important thing. But Meteora does a very good job at saying, okay, this pool I would recommend to use. Again, if we go for the Trump one, that's the original pool. But again, Trump's got a lot of volume, so it might not be the best example. And you can look at like Fartcoin's another good example. Again, we've got the 20 bin step, and this is probably one of my most favorite pools. So if I was looking to say, okay, I want to farm Fartcoin today, what I would do is I would probably put most of it in here. I would have a look at the chart. Just a bit of advice. This is what I would do. I haven't looked at the chart, but I'll talk you through it, and we'll have a look and see how it's doing. So I've got two options what I prefer to do. So for this, I would put just Solana, just based on the chart itself. So I would come here and I would add liquidity and I'll do a one-sided pull like that. And I'm getting a 12%. So I might do a curve. So most of it is concentrated around here. And then I'll just deposit it. And then hopefully once it sort of runs down to here, we'll occur fees and then it'll bounce back up and then we'll have more Solana, or we'll have one Solana again, but we'll have a lot of fees and Solana occurred there. So I hope this helped. I hope it's given you some food for thought, but stick to the rules. Meteora does a good job at finding out which bin step to use, why to use it, and how to use it. All the best and take care.